Today, another precious life has been lost, not because medicine failed, but because the warning signs were missed. Just yesterday, that person looked perfectly fine. They were laughing with their family, eating dinner, going about life as usual. And then, almost overnight, everything changed. This is what makes these illnesses so cruel. They don't always scream for attention. They whisper. And by the time most people realize something is wrong, it's often far too late. I've spent over 40 years in medicine, and there's one question that still echoes in my mind. One that patients or their families ask when it's too late to turn back. Doctor, if I had come in earlier, could I have survived? It's a question that breaks your heart, because in many cases the answer is yes. Pancreatic and colon cancers are among the most silent, most deceptive killers we face. In the United States alone, tens of thousands of people lose their lives to these diseases every single year. Not because there was no cure, but because the signs were subtle, easy to dismiss, and hidden behind everyday symptoms. But here's what gives me hope. Your body tries to warn you. Long before things become serious, it sends small, quiet messages. And if you learn how to recognize them, you can act early. And that single decision could save your life. So stay with me as we go through 5 early warning signs that you should never ignore. Each one may seem minor at first glance, but together, they could mean everything. Symptom number 1, a strange change in body temperature. Here's the first signal your body might be trying to send, and it's one most people never think twice about. You may start to notice something strange. Your hands and feet feel unusually cold, even when the room is warm, while your face feels flushed or overheated at the same time. It's not a normal fever. It's a deep, internal imbalance that doesn't quite make sense. This subtle temperature change can be one of the earliest clues that your pancreas or colon is under stress. When the pancreas begins to struggle, the body's temperature regulation system, which depends heavily on circulation and nerve control, starts to go off balance. Blood flow may slow down in the extremities, while increasing in other areas like the upper chest and face. That's why you might notice cold feet but a warm head, or alternating hot and cold sensations throughout the day. Many people brush this off. They blame menopause, poor circulation, or stress. And while those causes are possible, here's the difference. If these sensations keep returning several times a week, especially at night when you're resting, it's worth paying attention. This isn't about panic. It's about awareness. Try keeping a simple journal. Note when these temperature swings happen, what you ate, or whether they coincide with fatigue or stomach discomfort. If the pattern continues for more than a week or 2, it's time to talk to your doctor. A simple blood test and imaging scan can reveal if your pancreas or colon might be struggling to maintain balance. Catching this change early could be the key difference between a small correction and a life-threatening disease discovered too late. Your body always speaks first, but it whispers. And this is one of those whispers that should never be ignored. Symptom number 2, unusual vibrations or fluttering in the abdomen. Now this next one often surprises people because it sounds so unusual, almost impossible. Some patients describe it like this. It feels as if something is buzzing inside me, like a faint vibration under the ribs. Others say, it's almost like a tiny phone vibrating deep in my belly, but there's nothing there. This isn't your imagination. That subtle fluttering or trembling sensation in the abdomen, especially when you're lying quietly at night, can sometimes be a sign of something deeper. What you may be feeling is tiny disturbances in blood flow or nerve activity near the pancreas. When that organ becomes inflamed, or when small abnormal growths start pressing on nearby blood vessels or nerves, it can trigger this strange internal vibration. It doesn't cause sharp pain, just a rhythmic, flutter-like pulse that comes and goes in short bursts. At first, Most people assume it's simple digestion or trapped gas. But here's the difference. Normal digestive movement tends to stop when you press on your stomach. This sensation, however, often keeps going, unaffected by touch or position. That's because it's coming from deeper structures, not surface-level muscle activity. If you experience this more than a few times a week, or if it continues for 2 weeks or longer, pay close attention. Lie down, breathe deeply, and focus on the area just below your rib cage. If you can feel that subtle flutter even when you're relaxed and still, it's time to speak with your doctor. Modern imaging tools, like an abdominal ultrasound or CT scan, can quickly check for inflammation, cysts, or early changes in the pancreas that might explain what's happening. It's a quick test, but it could spare you years of uncertainty, or worse, an undetected condition that grows silently. So if your stomach ever feels like it's humming for no reason, don't ignore it. Sometimes what feels small to you is your body's way of saying, please, look closer. Symptom number 3, sudden aversion to food smells. Here's a warning sign that most people never connect to their digestive health, and yet it's one of the most telling. Imagine this. You walk into your kitchen, and the aroma of freshly cooked food, something you used to love, suddenly turns your stomach. The smell of fried foods, grilled meat, or even coffee makes you feel uneasy, nauseated, or dizzy. You push the plate away, thinking, maybe I'm just tired, maybe my stomach's off today. But the next day it happens again and again. What's really happening here has less to do with your taste buds and more to do with your pancreas and brain connection. You see, the pancreas plays a key role in breaking down fats and proteins. When it becomes inflamed or sluggish, your body struggles to process these heavier foods. In response, the brain steps in and begins to reject what the body can't handle. This triggers sudden aversions to smells and foods that used to feel perfectly normal. It's a protective mechanism, your brain's way of shielding your body from further stress. But it's also an early warning. When this symptom appears alongside fatigue, bloating, or unexplained weight loss, it's time to pay attention. I've seen many people mistake this sign for something harmless. They think it's aging, or stress, or a temporary stomach bug. Yet in reality, it can be one of the body's earliest distress signals for pancreatic or colon issues. If this continues for more than a week or two, especially if you begin to skip meals or feel weak afterward, don't ignore it. Your body is doing something incredible. It's trying to protect you before the real damage begins. A simple checkup, blood work, or imaging scan can provide answers long before the disease advances. And that's what early detection really means. Not waiting for pain, but recognizing discomfort when it first whispers. So if food suddenly turns from comfort to discomfort, don't brush it off. Listen to what your senses are telling you, because they're often more honest than your habits. Symptom number 4, a change in the smell of your sweat. This next sign is subtle, but it's one of the body's most remarkable built-in alarms. You might notice that your sweat smells different. Not necessarily bad, but somehow off. Maybe it's a faint sweet-sour note that wasn't there before, or a metallic, almost chemical scent that lingers even after showering. You change soaps, deodorants, even your laundry detergent, but nothing helps. Here's what's really happening beneath the surface. Your pancreas and liver act like your body's internal filters. They process nutrients, regulate blood sugar, and help remove toxins. When one of these organs, especially the pancreas, starts to weaken, your body's chemistry begins to change. Waste products like ketones and fatty acids build up in the bloodstream. And when those compounds leave the body through sweat, they carry that faint, unfamiliar odor. It's not something you'll read about in most medical pamphlets, but many patients who later received pancreatic or liver diagnoses remember this stage clearly. They'd say, "It was the strangest thing. My husband said I smelled different." Or, "I'd shower in the morning and by evening, I'd still notice that sour scent." This is your body's early detox system asking for help. It's trying to signal that your metabolism, especially your glucose and fat processing, isn't working as smoothly as it should. If this symptom appears and stays for more than a week or two, don't ignore it. It doesn't always mean cancer, but it does mean something inside is struggling. Ask your doctor for a simple blood test, one that measures your pancreatic enzymes, insulin, and blood sugar levels. If needed, a quick imaging scan can rule out inflammation or early dysfunction. And here's the hopeful part. When caught early, these imbalances are often reversible. You can restore that chemical balance, and that off smell fades just as quietly as it appeared. Your sweat isn't just a sign of effort. It's a message from your metabolism, and sometimes that message can save your life. Symptom number 5, unexplained stiffness or discomfort in the knees. This last one surprises almost everyone. What do the knees have to do with the pancreas or colon? At first glance, nothing. But inside your body, everything is connected. Imagine waking up one morning and your knees feel stiff. Not painful exactly, just heavy, like someone tied invisible weights around them overnight. You stretch, maybe walk a little, and after 10 or 15 minutes, they start to loosen up. You think, "That's just age," or "I slept funny." But the next morning it happens again, and then again. Here's what might really be going on. When your pancreas or digestive system is inflamed, that inflammation doesn't stay put. It travels. Microscopic inflammatory molecules called cytokines enter the bloodstream and circulate through the entire body. And the joints, especially large ones like the knees, are often the first to react. That's why people with early pancreatic or colon stress sometimes notice joint stiffness before any digestive symptoms appear. Their knees feel locked or heavy, even at rest. Unlike arthritis, this stiffness doesn't always depend on movement or weather. It can appear suddenly and vanish just as quickly, making it easy to ignore. But it's not something to shrug off. Your knees, in this case, aren't the problem. They're the messenger. They're alerting you that inflammation is quietly building up elsewhere. If your knee stiffness lasts more than a couple of weeks, especially if it comes with changes in digestion, appetite, or fatigue, take it seriously. Ask your doctor for a simple inflammatory marker test, something like a CRP or ESR panel, along with pancreatic enzyme screening. These tests are quick, inexpensive, and can reveal early inflammation long before it turns into something more dangerous. And remember, the goal isn't to panic, it's to pay attention. Your body has a brilliant early warning system, but it whispers first. If you learn to listen, you can act before those whispers turn into cries for help. So if your knees feel strangely stiff or heavy for no reason, don't just blame the years. Blame the silence, and break it by getting checked early. When to see a doctor. If you've noticed 2 or more of these signs happening close together, the sudden temperature imbalance, the fluttering in your abdomen, food aversions, that odd change in sweat odor, or unexplained stiffness in your knees, don't wait. This isn't about fear. It's about awareness. The earlier you act, the more control you have over the outcome. Because when it comes to pancreatic and colon health, time is everything. Here's what I recommend. Ask your physician for a comprehensive blood panel, not just the standard one. Request specific tests for pancreatic enzymes like amylase and lipase, blood sugar and insulin levels to detect early metabolic imbalance, inflammation markers such as CRP, C-reactive protein, and ESR erythrocyte sedimentation rate. Next, talk about imaging. An endoscopic ultrasound, EUS, can spot small changes in the pancreas long before standard scans can. A contrast-enhanced MRI or MRCP can reveal tiny blockages, narrowings, or inflammation, warning signs that ordinary tests might miss. These aren't extreme measures. They're proactive steps, ways to turn silent disease into visible data while it's still treatable. I've seen people whose lives were saved simply because they took these symptoms seriously, weeks or even months before things became severe. They didn't wait for pain. They listened to the small, strange signals and acted. And that's what this message is really about. Not panic, not paranoia, but partnership between you and your body. Because your body has always been talking to you. You just need to start hearing it. Protecting your pancreas and colon, what truly works. Awareness is the first step, but protection, real, lasting protection, comes from the small daily choices that shape how your body repairs itself. These aren't complicated. They don't require expensive treatments or strict diets. They're about rhythm, about giving your body the space and support to do what it's designed to do, heal. Let's start with something deceptively simple, hydration. Most people underestimate how powerful water can be. When you drink in the right rhythm, you're not just quenching thirst. You're helping your pancreas and colon flush out waste, digest nutrients, and regulate blood sugar more efficiently. Here's the secret. Try to drink roughly 40% of your daily water between 6 and 8 a.m. That's when your organs are waking up, clearing out the metabolic debris from the night before. Warm water with a slice of lemon is ideal. It nudges the liver and pancreas to begin gentle detoxification. But just as important is when not to drink. Avoid heavy water intake after 9 p.m. It forces your kidneys and pancreas to stay active, while the rest of your body is trying to rest. Let your digestive organs sleep too. Next, add gentle abdominal massage to your nighttime ritual. Place your palm just above your belly button and make small, clockwise circles for about 3 minutes. This simple act encourages blood and lymphatic flow through the pancreas and intestines, like softly untangling a knot inside your body. People who do this regularly often notice less bloating, better digestion, and deeper sleep. Finally, the most powerful tool of all, your breath. The pancreas thrives on oxygen and calm. When you're anxious, your body diverts blood away from digestion. But deep breathing reverses that. Try this before meals. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold that breath for 7 seconds. Then exhale gently through your mouth for 8 seconds. Repeat it 10 times. It quiets the stress response and sends oxygen-rich blood back to your digestive organs, where healing begins. These rituals might seem too simple to matter, but practiced daily, they create a rhythm of balance. A quiet harmony that keeps your pancreas, colon, and metabolism in sync. Because prevention isn't built in hospitals. It's built in the moments between, in your kitchen, in your breath, in the way you care for yourself before something goes wrong. A final message. Pancreatic and colon cancers are not unstoppable forces. They are diseases that whisper long before they ever roar. And if you learn to recognize those whispers, to listen when your body speaks softly, you have a chance to act while the future is still in your hands. The truth is, most people never get that chance. Not because they didn't care about their health, but because no one ever told them what to look for. They thought fatigue was just part of getting older. They thought night sweats or appetite changes were stress. They ignored the small things, until they weren't small anymore. But you don't have to follow that path. You can choose awareness. You can choose attention. you can choose life. If you feel something's off, your appetite, your energy, your digestion, even something as subtle as a new body odor or temperature change, do not brush it aside. Don't let embarrassment, fear, or "it's probably nothing" be the reason you wait. Because early detection doesn't just save lives, it saves quality of life. It means waking up without dread. It means having the strength to hold your grandchild, to take that trip, to live without the shadow of what-ifs. Your body is not your enemy, it's your ally, your most loyal messenger. Every strange symptom, every sudden discomfort, is your body's way of saying, "I need you to notice me. I'm trying to protect you." So listen, ask questions, get checked. Share this message, not out of fear, but out of love. Someone you know may recognize their own symptoms in these words and seek help just in time. And as you go about your day, remember this simple truth. You are not fragile. You are resilient. Your body is capable of healing, of renewing, of growing stronger at any age, if you give it attention, nourishment, and care. So take a deep breath, drink your water, move a little, rest well, and never, ever ignore the quiet signals that could save your life. Stay aware, stay gentle, stay alive, because the best time to listen to your body is now.